There was one scene in which I was crying, the one in which your character gets raped. That was a very serious moment in the theatre. There was pin drop silence. What was happening when you guys were going to film it?
You're about to, project an unfathomable sort of pain mentally, physically, emotionally, in every. So you just have to dive. You just have to let it all go, and you have to scream from your stomach. You have to let it all out. You randomly find yourself crying, and your director's asking you what happened. It's done.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
In a day and age where the audience wants only good content, Yudli Films has decided to give us exactly that. Welcome, Siddharth,
Hi.
Shaan, and Ali. Congratulations on Noblemen. It's a wonderful film, and if you guys haven't watched it, you need to go to the theaters and watch it. What a beautiful film!
Thank you.
Tell me one thing. When you make films which are purely content-driven, have really good actors like them, but don't have that commercial push, maybe because when you have a superstar. I'm not saying you need one, but when you have one, you get that buzz around the film. You having good content and good performance, but not having that little push, it's a risk. And you need to have immense faith in your project. Where does that come from?
So I think good content always finds its way.
Yeah.
And we off late are in the digital revolution where you have OTT platforms where good content always rises above bad content, even if the bad content had a lot of push.
True.
Like you're saying.
I agree.
What we've always had in India is a problem of distribution. And it's not that the audiences don't want to watch movies like this, but movies like this don't have an inorganic way to pull you into the theaters like a star. So a star is an inorganic way to pull you into the theater.
True.
Irrespective of the story, you want to watch the movie of a big star, so you'll go watch it, right? So movies like this have traditionally relied on word of mouth. And how does word of mouth work? I'll tell him, he won't go just because I've told him. 5 other people will tell him, then he'll go to watch the movie.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where critics come in. But word of mouth takes time.
Yeah.
And today, because the theaters are few and the films are many, you don't get the amount of time that you would, let's say, 20 years ago, when a film would sit in the theaters for
too
2,
long.
3, 4 weeks.
Yes.
And slowly word of mouth would build. So it was bad times for content-driven films without inorganic pull until the OTT platforms came along.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now what we do is we release a movie in the theaters and we do a smaller release because it starts people talking about it. And everybody who's talking about it knows it's going to go to some platform or the other.
Right.
So by the time it comes on the platform, the word of mouth has started to catch up. So like in the case of Hamid, you see tremendous pull
Beautiful
when
film.
it comes onto,
Yeah.
thank you, and we see tremendous pull when it comes onto the platform.
True.
Because people have already started talking about it. Reviewers such as yourself have reviewed it. Hopefully they've liked the movie. That's why you made a content-based film, right? Because it's more real, it's more relevant, and
It's interesting. I think you don't have anything to worry about. People who have bad content and only a superstar actually need to worry about their films.
they actually can lose a lot of money.
A lot of money,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ali and Shaan, I loved your film and your performances. There was one scene in which I was crying, the one in which your character gets raped by Arjun's character. That was a very serious moment in the theatre. There was pin drop silence. What was happening when you guys were going to film it, before the scene, and how did Vandana, the director of the film, prep you? What was going on in the head?
Well, I was extremely quiet before we got to shooting that scene. So right from the time that I knew that this scene existed in the script, I was very nervous, very to attempt a scene like this. It's you're about to project an unfathomable sort of pain mentally, physically, emotionally, in every. So just to think that you have to do something like that, it's already daunting. Right before the scene, I was extremely quiet. Vandana came and showed me some images, some videos from, I think, Irreversible.
Okay.
There's a 9-minute sequence in which Monica Bellucci's character gets very, very brutally raped. And she showed me some very disturbing images that kept me in the zone. When we got to filming it, the set was closed. There were extremely few people on set, and I remember that we had blocked this scene before we shot it. So we knew the way it was going to be shot and staged. But while blocking it, we also just rehearsed it, and we kind of played it out. This was like 3 to 4 days before, and she asked me to kind of show what the final, of course not exactly, but what the final performance was going to be like. And even then, I didn't know the immensity of the pain that I had to kind of portray. So I remember Vandana taking me aside and telling me that you just have to dive, you just have to let it all go, and you have to like scream from your stomach. You have to let it all out. And it was, I think, just like you said, the audience was quiet. I think nobody on set spoke. Like a couple of times when your mic had to be adjusted or focus issues, I mean, people were pin drop. Like there was no. When I walked out of set before a retake and listening to music, everybody on set also, like nobody wanted to make eye contact. People, it was solemn, the entire environment.
So everybody felt it.
Yeah, it was.
What about you? Tell me. I mean, you were on the sidelines. I mean, when it comes to Arjun, but you were on the evil side of it.
Exactly.
As an actor, what was going? I mean, the character was supposed to be like sadistic, but what was happening to you in your head when you were watching something like that?
So like he said, I never thought that I will be a part of such a scene. It's too hard and too harsh. And Vandana had helped us with the scenes. She made us watch Irreversible, the scene from Irreversible, and a couple of other films as well, the rape scenes. So to get in that space, to dive into it, we needed our own space firstly, So that day, and I think the day before, we didn't speak. We weren't talking at all. So we couldn't even see each other,
Okay, by chance you guys weren't talking.
Yeah, even if we we wouldn't. No eye contacts. We won't see each other. We won't talk to each other. We just wanted to see each other only in the scene, when we do it.
Directly,
Because
okay.
we had done the rehearsal 3-4 days back.
Yeah.
So we had met at the rehearsals or some other scene which we were doing. But just for that scene, we had made sure that Arjun and I, we won't talk to him, we won't interact with him. We would try to get inside us, that hatred that if we have to get in the scene. So by not talking to him, that if we will talk to him, there might be some, I don't know, like we might not feel it entirely. So we wanted to like keep him completely away from us, and so that the scene can come out
The tension
really
was
well.
real on screen.
As much as possible.
When you have actors like these who take their job so seriously, like he said, we decided to not talk. You're really trusting young people with a very difficult script, I would say. What is it that you saw in them, or what do you really look for in your actors? Is it talent, or is it it's just seriousness? What is it?
Well, we look for directors first.
Okay.
We look for directors who are very passionate about stories, and we've always believed that Yoodlee should stand for fearless filmmaking, which means, and I think one of the key tenets of fearlessness is trust. If you don't trust, you can't be fearless. So we like to trust.
Right.
We like to trust people's passion.
Okay.
We, in fact, as producers, never get into casting.
Okay.
We let the director, and that's again something that really distinguishes us from other producers, right? Because we're not trying to say, hey, I know this person, or this person will be really good for business,
Thank
let's
God.
cast them. That's not the idea.
Yeah.
The idea is let the director go out, and the director just shows us these are the people that we're going to take in the movie, like maybe 3-4 weeks before they start shooting the movie. 99% of the time, we're like, go ahead.
Yeah. I also liked how, in this film, they spoke about the things men go through. We have so much to talk about when it comes to women, but it's really interesting that maybe we're not insensitive, but we are unaware of what happens to men when it comes to sexual exploitation. You guys must have auditioned for this film, right?
Yep.
So a lot of actors say that it's much easier to give a take on set when you are in that costume and that setup versus giving an audition in a blank room. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, to an extent. When you go in for an audition, you're creating the entirety of like what you've read one scene, So you're creating the whole character on the basis of that one scene from your own imagination.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes that works in your favor because you end up doing something I think that would work for you. A lot of times you give an audition and they're so specific in what you want that you can't really express yourself as, you can't bring out yourself in that character. So
Right.
it can work also, and it can be a bit daunting because you have to use your own imagination to create that character for that one tape.
Right.
But sometimes people, that's why I feel like the auditioning process for Noblemen was great because we were all given the freedom to, just be ourselves in the audition. Fun fact, he auditioned for Shay and I auditioned for Badal.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
My first audition was for Badal.
Okay.
My first audition was for Shay. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
scene was it?
Shay, the scene in which he talks to his mom. Yeah.
Oh, like on
And mine was
Skype,
the
yeah.
one where he asks Professor Murli if he can play Basanio's part. And
Yeah, that was Badal's. And I've
yeah.
also given Arjun's audition as well. I've given all three of them. Yeah.
so
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, tell me.
So I think it's about that. Like it's scary, but if somebody is casting well and they know what like they're letting you be, sometimes you can express yourself better. Then they can they can find you within the story. They can like the character and you somewhere at some point meet. So that becomes fun.
What about you? You agree with this, right?
Yep, as far as the freedom is given to an actor, yeah, it can go both ways, If I use my freedom in the wrong way, so I might just play something else only completely, which the director might not like. And what if it works for me, so the director might like me most and more than the other actors as well. So it depends on your imagination, your visualization, how you treat the character, how you treat the dialogues, how you treat the script. And yeah, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but hopefully fingers crossed that it should work always.
So tell me
yeah.
honestly, how many hate messages did you get after the film?
Yours was 48th, so
You were counting or what?
yeah.
I mean, that's a great compliment for you.
Yep.
First
I was
film
victorious
and
that,
you're
yeah,
winning. Very
people
nice.
wanted to murder me, stab me, kill me for all the wrong reasons.
What was the worst message that you got?
Worst message, yeah, that they want to kill me. So yeah, because I don't want to die.
That's a huge achievement for you as a producer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. If they hate me, then yeah, that's the purpose achieved. So yeah, fulfilled.
Right. Tell us about the future projects that Youthly is really coming up with.
The film we have coming right up after this is something called KD, which is a Tamil film.
Okay.
And it's a story of friendship between an 80-year-old guy and an 80-year-old orphan, both of whom have run away from their homes. And they meet because they both want to sleep in the same place in a temple.
Okay.
And how they become friends. And then what all adventures they get up to as their friends. Right after that, we have a Marathi film called Habaddi.
Habaddi. What does that mean?
Habaddi is a kid who's totla trying to say kabaddi.
Oh, okay. So it's like there was this film called Kamine where he had the same problem. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a movie about a kid who really wants to go to Bombay because he's got a crush on a girl who comes to his village sometimes. But he can't go there because he doesn't have any money.
Okay.
And then he learns that in his school there's a kabaddi team being formed and they'll go to Bombay to participate in a kabaddi tournament. So it's about how he trains himself to be a kabaddi champion, even though he can't say a sentence together without like fumbling and stammering and all of that, and how he overcomes that obstacle and becomes a kabaddi champion.
Beautiful.
So two very interesting
Very interesting. Yeah.
kids films. It's very different to Noblemen, which is
Very
much
different.
darker, right?
Yeah.
So everything needn't be dark.
Yeah.
Some things are slightly lighter and more fun. So that's what we have coming up
Nice.
right next.
You know, you're right. Noblemen was so dark. I was wondering when I was watching it that how do you come out of it when you film for a very, very dark scene and then you go home and then you're yourself and you need to disconnect. How do you come out of it? Do you take it home or you're completely disconnected the moment it's cut?
There was no going home because we were staying in the boarding school.
Oh, like staying, like
We were
sleeping
literally
also.
we were staying in the boarding school that we were shooting in. So
Nice.
there,
It was a
yeah.
tough film to shoot because
That's
it was
really nice, but
through
getting-
December
Everyone was, the cast and
vacations,
the
it was
crew,
freezing
everyone,
cold.
we all stayed together
Yeah.
for that 1 month.
Wow. 1 month. This has been completed in 1 month. Wow. Okay.
So for me, what I used to do is I would like try to treat every day like a 12 to 14 hour shift, and as soon as backup was called, I would completely try to like get out of the world of Shay. I would watch films, listen to music, speak to my family, speak to my friends, because you need to like I needed to cut off.
Yeah.
There were moments where like it lingers on, and then you randomly find yourself crying, and your director's asking you what happened. It's done.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So
So it does affect the actors a lot.
It does,
Doesn't
it
it?
does.
It takes a toll on you.
I feel like somebody asked me if how long did it take to get Shay out of your system. I feel like Shay is coming out of my system now with the release of the film. Now it's going. It's going.
A lot of people say it never really leaves you. Like a part of the character will always stay with you.
Probably.
Like Deepika Padukone said that, having done so many films, she said that it's very difficult. You can't really let go because you've lived that character. You've lived the highs and lows, and you've laughed with the character, cried with it. So it's really hard. That's a taxing thing when
You
it's a
live the
character.
character, so
You
yeah.
live the character. Wow. But thank you for a beautiful film. It's really time that people like you, who are revolutionary, give us good content, which can stay with us for a very, very long time. All the best for all the future films you guys are going to be a part of.
Thank you so
And
much.
keep entertaining us for many, many years to come.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thanks
so
for your
much.
review. It was very nice.
It was just being, it was honesty. That's all.
Thank you.
Thanks for the review and calling us.